Most bankers aren't ready to help you until after their third cup of coffee. But with Central National Bank's after-hours service, you don't have to wait for the bank lobby to open to get help. You can contact us from 6 to 8:30 in the morning or from 5 to 10 in the evening, and we'll connect you to a real, live, local person who can answer questions and fix problems 7 days a week. Bank different. Bank Central. Central National Bank. Member FDIC.
Welcome to Women's Hoops and Talks, the What podcast, where we are elevating the voice of women in basketball. I'm Tara.
And I'm Cassidy. Thank you so much for listening today. We've got a great show coming up. Alex from the Blazers Outsiders is here. Welcome back, Alex.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me.
We are so glad to have you. Can't wait to find out how your year has been, how the season's been going. Before we get into that, though, let me just remind everybody that you can follow the Hoops and Talks podcast on Twitter at Hoops and Talks, and you can subscribe to the show in the Blazers Edge podcast feed on whatever platform you use to get your podcasts. So let's get started with an icebreaker. You want to take it away, Cassidy?
Absolutely. I'm thinking, in honor of my favorite moment of the season, I'm wondering if you could pick 3 NBA players to be stuck in an elevator with. Who would you pick and why? And I do not even know my answer yet, so if anyone wants to jump in.
Oh, I've got my answer.
All right.
I've
got my answer. I'm all ready to go. Okay. Number 1, I got to go with Evan Turner. He's my favorite Blazer. He's my favorite NBA player. The guy would keep it entertaining at the very least. That's number 1. My number 2 is going to be JaVale McGee, because I just recently started following him on Instagram. He seems like an awesome guy. He is also a vegan. I got to ask him about his journey that way, and he just seems cool. My third one is Kyrie Irving.
Oh.
Because I feel like he has some splaining to do. You know what I mean? I have questions to ask him, like sit me down with him, like trap him in there. I need to know about the flat earth thing. I'm going to make it productive.
That's good. And with Evan Turner in there to just kind of like needle him along too.
Yes, exactly. Like if things get too intense with Kyrie, at least Evan will be, the peanut gallery back there making it light.
I love it. Did we already tell the story, Cassidy, about getting on the elevator in Denver? Were you with us?
Oh, I don't think we did. Yeah, I was in that elevator.
Oh my God. So Alex, we were in Denver a few weeks ago for a game, and there was a bunch of us all from Portland, and like we were getting on the elevator to go upstairs in their arena, and we got on the elevator, and then it started beeping, and we like kind of looked around, and then we like realized that there was like a over the weight limit, and we cruised out of there so fast. We were like, we're from Portland.
My
we
God.
can't be in elevators.
And the Denver fans were laughing at us because they definitely knew about the elevator incident, and they were like, yeah, you guys should probably get out.
Oh, that's so funny. Oh my God. Well, at least you guys made it out.
Right. I know.
Yeah, we survived.
I know. I was just like, well, and so that's where I'll go next with mine, because that like, split second where I like looked around and I was like, oh my God, if I'm going to be stuck in an elevator, who do I want to be stuck with? I realized I wanted to be stuck with the smallest people that I could possibly be stuck with. And so I just went to Basketball Reference and found out who the 3 shortest guys in the NBA are right now.
Ooh, hit us with it. I can't even think.
Isaiah Thomas from Denver, of course.
Okay.
He's like listed as 5'9", and these are their listed heights, so who knows how accurate they are.
Right.
Tyler Ulis of Chicago, he's 5'10", and I remember seeing him on the court. He's a little tiny guy. And then Frank Mason of Sacramento is listed as 5'11", and those are pretty much the only guys listed under 6 foot.
Wow. Okay.
But that is who I would choose to be stuck with.
That's a really strategic answer. I like it. I appreciate it.
Strategic. I was expecting to hear Caruso from you.
Oh. God, I feel so bad. I haven't thought about my secondary or my tertiary boyfriend in like a week since the Lakers are out. But yeah, I kind of fell for Caruso at the end of the season. Like, who didn't, right?
I didn't actually pay attention to him.
Oh,
most.
But I'm Googling him right now.
Oh yeah,
he's just for science. That's why.
Yeah. So I definitely had Evan Turner on my list just because I'm waiting for a deadpan almost as great as the one that happened in our elevator incident. I think for a second pick, oh goodness, this is so difficult. I'm thinking I'm gonna go with. I would like to hear how Jason Tatum's doing. Actually, from Duke, just a check in, see how that's going. I know he has a cool organization going in Boston right now, and I think my third pick would have to go for the entertainment value. So I'm gonna have to pick. Honestly, I want to talk to Jimmy Butler.
Oh,
I think he's got some interesting takes on the world, and I'd be willing to listen to them just long enough to get out of an elevator. So
just until the trail mix runs out.
Just until they let me out. So I think those are my picks. I'm going with Jimmy Butler, Evan Turner, and whoever else I said.
Jason Tatum. That seems like a super intense group.
It could be an intense elevator situation.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Especially after you've been highly caffeinated, then getting in there with the three of them, that would be
Yeah. And there's never a situation where I'm not highly caffeinated, so not gonna happen.
Well, that was fun. Thanks for getting us started on that. So, Alex, you've been a Blazers outsider on NBC Sports Northwest for a season now. So how has that gone? What's that been like?
It's pretty crazy to think that it's already been a full regular season. Like, it seems like everything went by so quickly. It's been really great. Like, getting to know all the guys. You know, I basically, since I fill in sometimes on the pre and post game show, I've got, you know, these 5 guys that I get to hang out with and talk basketball with and watch basketball with. And I think, you know, they've kind of made me better fans and helped me look at the game a little bit differently. It's just been fun having this sort of second hobby / you know, gig thing that has allowed me to meet a lot of people and make some pretty decent friends. So aside from that, I think that it's gotten a lot easier over time. I wasn't that nervous to start, but just getting comfortable with knowing that everything doesn't have to be scripted and dead air can happen. And you'll probably learn to fill that space with some meaningful basketball talk, and just learning to trust yourself definitely came a little bit later in the regular season. So I don't know what's in store for the outsiders for the off season or next season, but I'm excited to continue to grow and get better, you know, as a panelist.
Nice. Well, for people, in case they don't watch The Outsiders, because we do have listeners from not from around this parts, can you explain a little bit about like kind of what the concept is behind The Outsiders and how you cover the Blazers?
Yeah. So Blazers Outsiders is a show by the fans, basically. They're non-media, like Blazers associated people, I guess, if you will.
So outsiders.
Yes, they're out. Exactly. They're outsiders. They're not insiders. And we have 2 shows. We have one that plays on the pre and post game show before and after the games. And then the show that I'm primarily on is on the off days. So we kind of catch up, tell you about the game before, and preview the next game is usually how it works. So we just talk basketball. We talk about the league as well. You know, anything relevant happening, whether it be on social, you know, on Twitter or game wise, we'll talk about it.
Have you ever had any big guffaws that we didn't catch because we were watching from home and they were going on behind? Anything break or anything like that?
You know, I heard there's only a 10-second delay. So my biggest concern was, I'm definitely going to curse on live TV. It's going to happen to me. I'm going to get fired. But surprisingly, I still haven't. And you wouldn't know it by being on this podcast, but I have a colorful mouth at times. So the fact that I haven't done that yet is almost next to a miracle. But no, actually, Chris, my host, Chris Burkhart from NBC Sports Northwest, he is well prepared. He keeps things pretty organized, and every time he's in the driver's seat, I'm like, we're going to be fine. Nothing horrible's happened yet.
Have you ever driven the show before?
Yeah, I've hosted a couple times actually, just recently, because Chris has been on the road for the playoffs, covering for NBC Sports Northwest. He does camera work and social on the road, so I had to host a couple times in the last couple of weeks. And that's definitely a little bit of a different experience, you know, because I'm basically given the opportunity to plan out the show, like what we talk about, the order that I want to talk about things in, and planning the content essentially with the producer of the show. So it's been fun and a little bit nerve-wracking, but, just growth experiences.
So you are part of a group who started a Twitter community called Rip Twitty. You want to tell us about who Rip Twitty is and what y'all are about?
Yeah, today is like literally our first birthday. We've been doing this for a year, so it's pretty exciting. Basically what happened was just a few of us, I guess 5 of us, on Twitter all met on Twitter through Blazers. So basically through the hashtag Rip City, we all sort of found each other by tweeting about the Blazers. And it was me and 4 other women. And once we kind of became friends, we were like, this community is like Rip City, but it's on Twitter. So it's Rip Twitty. So we kind of dubbed that name and then made a Twitter account, an Instagram account, and just tried to do something to bring Blazers Twitter together. So since then, we've had 3 watch parties, 2 of them during the playoffs and 1 of them regular season. We kind of go around to different like Blazers adjacent or streetwear companies in the area, get them to donate prizes, and we'll hold raffles. And we did donations one time at one of our watch parties for the raffle. So if they brought donations that we took to the Portland Rescue Mission, that they would get raffle tickets, and then those prizes that the companies donated would go to them. So we're trying to do more in the community and kind of build up what is already really happening on Blazers Twitter, which is a lot of, strangers who maybe haven't met in person, but like all kind of connect for this one reason. So it's been pretty cool. Our last watch party was for game 3 of the playoffs this season. And we had it felt like maybe there were about 100 people there, and a lot of them hadn't met each other from Twitter yet. So it was just good to see everybody sort of come together and break down that wall.
That is super cool. And one of the things I appreciate about you is that the whole group of Rip Twitty, everybody's like really thoughtful. And that's not really how people tend to characterize Twitter, right? It's usually kind of thought of as sort of a cesspool.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of good things out there. And I've seen the Rip City Twitter and Rip Twitty, led by often like, with Rip Twitty leading the charge, just do like some really thoughtful things for each other. Lift people up when they're feeling down. I know that I've gotten some random cards in the mail from Rip Twitty, which are just like, it's like, who gets mail anymore? I got a Valentine. It was like the greatest thing. It was just
that was definitely fun for us.
Yeah, it's just fun. You guys put a little bit of extra thought into like. Right, we're all united because of the Blazers, but we're also people, and we're more than just fans. We're like, we bring our whole selves, and like we connect in different ways. Anyway, it's just really awesome. I'll stop being all sappy.
No, yeah, I mean, it's important to us because me and these 4 women, we hang out all the time in real life, so we're real friends now. So it's important for us to sort of share that and give other people the opportunity, or maybe the courage, to step out of Twitter and see if they can meet some true friends. Because I think that's, not to get all political, but, it's a society where we're really behind the computer or behind our phones a lot. So just kind of reminding people that, hey, like you can still make human connection, and it can come from Twitter, but it can be more than that is important to us.
Right on.
That's awesome.
Well, shall we move into the meat of the program today? It is.
Yes.
We are entering awards season, so we're going to give out some NBA awards, but instead of the regular awards that all the people who have votes are going to be giving out, we came up with our own awards. So we're going to go through some of them and see if we can figure out who should win these. Cassidy, do you want to look at our list and grab one to get started with?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the What Award for Most Vicious Fan Chant around the league. I think this year fans have been extra, well, maybe not extra this year, but I've heard a lot of great chants, and I wanted to recognize some of those great chants. So our first nominee are the Pacers fans for the Bron's Gonna Trade You, directed at Brandon Ingram in the midst of all the trade rumors that happened. Nominee number 2 are Dallas Maverick fans for chanting Jimmy Butler at Karl Anthony Towns after Jimmy Butler was traded.
Ooh, that is vicious.
Pacers fans, again, you are very vicious fans, for Tank for Zion, targeted at the Cavaliers. And our last nominee are the Knicks fans for chanting We Want Kyrie while playing against Boston. What do y'all think of the nominees?
Well, man, fans of other teams suck, don't they?
Yeah, but sometimes I wish we chanted more elaborate things in the Rose Garden
than just your stereotypical arena chant.
Just MV for Damien. I think the Knicks one seems actually pretty practical. Because Knicks fans wanting Kyrie, I think with Kyrie, you have to just shoot your shot when you see him. And, he could just like fall right for that kind of, courting, that kind of courtship. So I think that the Knicks, I might give the edge to them because I think theirs is actually the most practical.
Okay. You got an opinion, Alex? You lean in?
I mean, I think the worst thing is because the Dallas chant about Jimmy Butler is just sort of getting in Karl Anthony Towns' head. It's not really about him. It's just about some drama. To me, the Pacers chant at Brandon Ingram saying that someone on your team who doesn't have the power to do so is going to trade you is like the most disrespectful, specific, rude thing that you could chant at somebody. So for me, that one's the most vicious.
Yeah, I think I'm leaning towards that one as well. Just because it's just so mean. And
yes,
Pacers fans had a lot of these. I came up with about 8 different ones throughout the season, and I think 5 of them were Pacers. So it's
a basketball town, so they're passionate.
They are the state home of basketball. So
I wonder if those are all just like totally organic that just, rise out. Because I know when I'm in the arena, unless it's people chanting MVP, I like never have any idea what anybody's chanting. So I'm pretty impressed that they can like come up with that many coordinated efforts.
That's true. We got to give it to all of these fans for saying anything at all in unison.
Yes.
Maybe they have cards like at soccer games. I always wish the Blazers would do that. I so wish if there was a section of the Rose Garden that was like the Timbers Army, I would totally be in it.
Oh yeah.
But
that would be awesome.
I don't know why they don't do it. We're going to have to talk to somebody, see if we can get that started.
Well, I'll tell you, the first step is us wearing our playoff t-shirts like every other fan group does in the arena. I think until we start doing that. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
Watching the OKC game? Every other team's fans wear the t-shirts, but Portland's, man, they got to stay sassy with their flannel and their whatever else they got going on that they don't want to change out of. I don't know.
So
strange.
Every time you are at a game and they have t-shirts, do you put it on?
Well, I'm usually sitting in a suite. So for me, maybe this is like a complete bad excuse, but like I'm not in the bowl, so like you're not going to see me on TV.
So easy for
or
you
the
to
players
say.
See me. I know, right?
How about you, Cassidy?
Exactly.
Where do you sit on this?
It depends on. No, it doesn't. I will forever and always wear my 1989-1990 Western Conference Finals t-shirt in games that matter. I just cannot. I've worn it since I was too little to even be in it. Since I was like 2, I was wearing it. So I've been wearing it my entire life. I'm going to continue wearing that during important games.
Yeah, that's true. We are kind of like superstitious as a fan group. So, all right, I take it back. Okay.
Well, no, I think it's definitely worth exploring because it definitely looks more menacing and more coordinated. But I hate being told what to do so much.
Yeah.
And when I walk in and there's that t-shirt sitting there looking at me like, you better put this on, I'm just like, ugh. Every fiber in my body just like rebels. Like, no, don't tell me what to do. Don't tell me I have to wear that shirt. And then I'll wear it like happily afterwards. And sometimes I'll like, drape it on my body. But my friend Susie, Blazer fan Susie, who's been an awesome guest on this show before, she is like, she does not let anybody in her section not wear their shirts. She is like, polices the place. And she's like, you put your shirt on. And so like her section always looks really good. So if there's a section that's like all wearing their shirts, there's probably Susie has probably walked through there and made sure that everybody was putting on their shirts. So
That's funny.
all right, so we've got the most vicious fan chant going to the Pacers fans for Braun's gonna trade you. Alex, do you want to pick one to do next?
Sure. Let's see here. All right, let's do the What Awards for the best performance in a basketball drama, which great category title, by the way, like perfect. Okay, the first one, nominees are Jimmy Butler for You Blankin' Need Me, Chandler Parsons for Let Me Play, Carmelo Anthony for The Invisible Man, and of course, our very own CJ McCollum for I'm Trying Jennifer. Those are all very good.
So for people who may not remember all those things, because some of them happened a really long time ago, the Jimmy Butler, You Effing Need Me, that was, he was in practice, right? And he yelled it, like he'd been sitting out and then he came to a practice and he and all the scrubs played and beat like the first team. And that's what he yelled at, I think, the owner or the GM or something, or the coach, right? Or I guess they're all the same.
Oh, yeah.
You effing need me. But I thought that the really funniest thing was the exact opposite tale for Chandler Parsons, because after he was coming back from injury, they told him that he had to go to the G League to play a couple games to show that he was in shape enough, and he refused to do it, and all he wanted to do was just play. And so he had a practice where he reportedly yelled, "Let me play," which I just thought that was so great. We had the two completely different ones. And then
that was insane.
Carmelo Anthony for The Invisible Man. What happened to him? Where is he?
Somewhere on a beach.
Crickets.
Oh, crickets on social?
I mean,
or does he even have social?
He showed up at Dwayne Wade's last game, I think, or was.
Yeah, he did. And then he did the last jersey exchange went to him, which I was like, what? You're not even wearing a jersey.
But otherwise.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's that. And then obviously CJ McCollum for I'm Trying Jennifer. We just had Jennifer on the podcast, the last podcast. She was amazing.
Oh.
It was so fun to talk to her. So who do you ladies want to give the best performance in a basketball drama to?
I feel like I'm leaning towards Butler.
Yeah, it's like not even a question for me that it's Jimmy Butler. Just the way he did it, comes into practice, beats the starters with the bench, and finishes with that. Like, that could be in a movie.
Yeah. It will be in a future movie. The Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, true. The Jimmy Butler story, yeah.
Yeah, lots of country music in that movie.
Yeah, I can't really argue with either of you on that one. I think he's the runaway winner for that one. There may have been some deeper, more subtle, nuanced performances from some of the other performers, but sometimes you just got to give it to the person who it's like obviously his turn.
Yeah, for sure.
Very much so.
Okay. So I will do mine. Mine is the award for the most average player in the NBA, because we spend so much time talking about trying to figure out who's the best, who's the top 5, who's the top 10, who's the top 100. And I think somebody needs to recognize those guys in the middle. Because people are always making fun of the guys at the end, but you know what? It's the guys in the middle who make the people at the top really good and gives the guys on the bottom something to strive for. So I wanted to, but so let me tell you how I picked out my nominees for most average player in the NBA. So I used several metrics. I tested my ability to use stats.nba.com and Basketball Reference today. And the first thing I did is I tried to figure out like what was the most average points per game and rebounds. So I just took like the league average for scoring, which was 111 points per game. And I figured like most teams probably play around like 10 people. So I divided that. So I figured that somebody who had scored around 11 points per game was probably like pretty average. And then I did the same thing with rebounds. So like a little bit more than 45 rebounds per game is the average. 45 times 10 is like 4.5. So the first thing I did is I found a couple of players who like were closest to having 11 points and 4.5 rebounds. So Damari Carroll had 11.1 points and 5.2 rebounds. And then Gordon Hayward had 11.5 points and 4.5 rebounds. So Damari Carroll and Gordon Hayward are very close in terms of having the most average points and rebounds per game. Then I was.
So is this? Sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was going to say, is this season or
Yes.
career?
No, this season.
Okay.
Gotcha. That's a good point. I just looked at this season, and I just looked at players who played more than 50 games, more than 10 minutes a game.
No, that's perfect because we're talking about this season, so that makes sense.
Okay. So then I was like, oh, what about guys who had a 0 plus minus? So like when they play, like that's average, right? Like they're not above, they're not below. They're like right there in the middle. So I looked at guys who had 0 plus minus who were closest to that points and rebounds number. And then I did the same with net rating, because net rating is like your offensive numbers plus your minus your defensive numbers. And like 0 again is right in the middle. So I looked at the players that had 0 plus minus and 0 net rating that were closest to 11 points and 4.5 rebounds. So those players are Trey Lyles. He had 8.5 points and 3.8 rebounds, a 0 net rating, and a 0.1 plus minus. And then my new favorite player, maybe after Caruso, let's see if I can pronounce his name, because I'd never heard of him, which I also thought was like boded really well for him in terms of being average. Rodions Kouroukas or something like that. I like wrote it down phonetically and I still can't do it right.
That's a wild name.
Kouroukas, and he plays for Brooklyn, and he's played in 50 games, more than 10 minutes a game, and I'd never heard of him before.
Never heard of him.
Wow.
It's Rodionkurucs. Anyway, Rodions, my new favorite player, as soon as I can learn how to pronounce his name. 8.5 points, 3.9 rebounds, 0 net rating, 0 plus minus. I mean, come on. Talk about average. So he's my winner. That's a really long and convoluted way of saying that Rodions is my winner for the most average player in the NBA.
This is incredible, Tara. The fact that you have put this together. Because I would never think of an average player as being essential. But if you like you said, they support the guys on the top and they give the guys below something to strive for, but they really skate by all the media. They kind of don't get any of the attention or the negative attention even for just being average, because the expectations are so either low or average for them. They just get to play basketball.
Yeah.
This is incredible. Wow.
I cannot argue with that logic.
Yeah. I mean,
as a very average
towards
person
him.
myself, I really want to pump up this award.
Oh, I love it. I'm going to go with Rodions as well, because, I mean, that's just those numbers speak for themselves.
Yeah, I got to go with the Latvian. Rodions gets this one.
Yeah.
As soon as we're done, I'm going to like dive down the Wikipedia tunnel to learn more about him.
Oh, I'm already there. I'm deep in the rabbit hole, you guys.
He looks like a very nice man. And he's like from Latvia, right?
Yeah.
His rookie season, I think. Yeah. Look out, world. Rodions is coming. All right. Do we have time for one more? Let's just do one more.
Okay.
And I think we should talk about, since we're wrapping up this season, let's talk about the best team after the Trailblazers to root for next season. So of all the teams that we watched this season, who do we think would be the best team to root for next year? So the nominees in the category of best team after the Trailblazers to root for next season: the Brooklyn Nets, otherwise known as Blazers East; the Sacramento Kings, because they have purple uniforms, and it just cracks me up every time I see their purple uniforms. Los Angeles Clippers, because they're not the Lakers. And Washington Wizards, because I think that they are the Bizarro World Blazers. Because here's my theory. At one time, John Wall and Bradley Beal were kind of like Damian and CJ, but their team went completely in the opposite direction.
Yes, they are 100% the bizarro Jerrys of the NBA to the Blazers. That's for sure. Can I make my case?
Yes.
Okay, so I gotta eliminate the Clippers because even though they're not the Lakers, even though they're making a good run against the Warriors right now, I cannot get behind Patrick Beverley no matter how much I try. So it can't be him. It can't be them. Sacramento Kings, I've been to Sacramento and it's depressing. So I'm inclined to go for them, but it's hands down for me. It's got to be the Brooklyn Nets because they took our Crab. They took our Ed, they took our Shabazz, and I still want those guys to succeed. So I feel like the Brooklyn Nets are still a good team to watch, regardless of what they do in the postseason right now. But they have my pick.
Yeah, I got to agree because I got to cheer for Shabazz and Ed, and I got to go with Brooklyn for this one, especially because they're just a fun team to watch. And apparently they have the most average player in the league.
Yeah.
So
yeah, hello.
I think we have to go with Brooklyn. I mean, most average.
Yeah. Yeah. Brooklyn is definitely my choice. I kind of watch the Wizards like in terms of like, what's that German term that means like you're watching like what you don't want happening to you? And that's kind of how I feel about. I'm sort of fascinated by Washington in that way. But yeah, I think the Brooklyn Nets are the team. I look at the Brooklyn Nets kind of, I look at them more like they were the next step for Ed and Shabazz and Alan Crabb. Like they all went off to college and they all chose the same college to go to. And now we can root for that school.
Yes, 100%. I don't feel bad about rooting for Brooklyn, even in tandem with rooting for the Blazers. Doesn't feel like it really gets in the way of my Blazer fanhood. So
right,
yeah, and I can only cheer for other teams on the East Coast, so it makes sense.
Right, exactly.
Really good point. Well, I think we should probably go ahead and wrap it up there. Alex, do you want to tell folks how they can catch your show and they can follow you on social media if you want?
Yes, I am on Twitter at Owlhix, OWLHIX. If you see a weird cat head, that is going to be me. They can watch Blazers Outsiders on off game days at 7 p.m. on NBC Sports Northwest. And then possibly in the off season on either Tuesday or Thursday. It's yet to be announced. So that's where they can find me.
And people can watch you on Facebook.
Yes, they can. Right? I forgot about that. Thank you. If you don't have cable or you feel like chatting along with us, we do respond and chat with you on Facebook Live. So just hop onto Facebook and find the NBC Sports Northwest page, and you can watch live with us.
Right on. Well, it has been a pleasure having you on again, and we will continue to have you as a regular guest as long as you will be on it, until you like make it big time and you're, too fancy for us.
Oh, come on. I'll never be too fancy.
And going all over the place, following the team. But thanks again for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You can find me at TCB Biggs on Twitter. You can follow the Hoops and Talks podcast at Hoops and Talks. You can also send us emails, hoopsandtalks@gmail.com. We love emails. And Cassidy, do you want to tell folks where they can find you and take us out of here?
Absolutely. You can find me at Cassidy Gemmett with 2 M's. And that's going to do it for this episode of the What Podcast. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you next time.